Hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. A pleasure to have you here with us in London for the Film Festival. If you can begin with a brief introduction to your film, tell us a bit about what people can expect.
My film Guest Up at the London Film Festival here in less than a week's time, next Tuesday and next Friday. And you can expect a thrill ride of a film. And that's why I'm delighted that it's Guest Up is showing in the thrill section of the London Film Festival. It is an entertaining and an exciting and an adrenaline-pinching film, but it's also a film that has got some heart and soul to it. And by the end of it, it's a universal story, a universal coming-of-age story about a young person who's trying to find their way in life.
And tell us a bit about the inspiration behind the story and how you came up with it and the specific setting.
Well, the inspiration for the story, a news story from a current affairs story that was happening in London round about 2017 when I first started having conversations with Rupert Preston at Vertigo Films. The story was of young people who were riding around on mopeds and robbing people basically, and predominantly snatching people's mobile phones and then going away and selling them for a sum of money. Within that news story, what I also found was that some of these youngsters their crimes were escalating from just initially snatching mobile phones out of people's hands to full-on smash and grab raids of jewelry stores. And I thought there was something there, you know, that escalation kind of thing of crime, of upping the ante, of the stakes being raised. And I guess we thought that there was an opportunity to just tell a coming-of-age story, a rites of passage story about a young person growing up on the streets of London who goes down the wrong path. But he's essentially just looking for some guidance and for the right direction in which to take his life, which I think is a universal story.
And how do you decide on your cast, and how did you work with them to achieve your vision?
I found myself working with our very talented cast for Guest Up, probably in the best way, I think, for filmmakers to work with anyone who they're collaborating with in the process of making a film, to collaborate, to work creatively, to ask a lot of questions, to say, what do you think? How would you feel? What's the truth in this situation from your point of view? And I think there was in that sense, a lot of really good creative synergy. And I think the results speak for themselves.
And what were some of the challenges on the shoot, and on the other side, some of the highlights? Did you have a favourite scene?
You know, the challenge on the shoot was making the film we wanted to make with the resources that we had in terms of, okay, here's the funding for this film, which, coming from documentary, I thought, wow, this is an amazing sum of money. But actually, in the world of drama, that is maybe not such an amazing sum of money, because there's films that are being made for astronomical budgets, hundreds of millions. Guest Up is not one of those films. But I think the challenge was to try and make the very most of our limited resources and to do something that felt real for all of us, and that reflected, I guess, our ambitions for the film. And I think that was done. You know, I think actually Guest Up probably looks like a film that's maybe 3 or 4 times its actual budget. And I think the reason why that's happened is because so many people put more than, let's say, the sum of the parts into the film. So, you know, everyone's put in 110%. And I think again, the film reflects that, and that's why I'm delighted that it's screening here at the London Film Festival.
And what do you ultimately hope people will take away from watching the film?
I think people hopefully will take away a feeling of being told a good story, and hopefully they'll take away a feeling of something in their heart, something that I suppose approximates compassion or empathy or identification with the people they've seen on screen. Because that's all we're doing, you know, we're just trying to tell human stories. And yes, you know, you could look at Guess Up and see it as a morality tale or a cautionary tale, but ultimately it's got to be a story. It's got to be a good story, well told, that at the end of it, you feel something.
And in terms of, like you say, having the film here at the London Film Festival, you know, what is so great about this festival? And I think particularly in the diversity of the stories that are being platformed here.
Well, this is the London Film Festival here in London. London is one of the most multicultural cities in the world. It's one of the most famous cities in the world. It's got an incredible amount of history to it. And Gassed Up is a story about London. It's a story about, I was going to say what's going on the streets of London today, but actually it's more than that. It's a universal story about what's going on the streets of any city, or could be going on the streets of any city around the world anyway. And what I always hoped for Gassed Up is that in some ways it would be something that's universal, and I believe we've achieved that, but also timeless, because 500 years ago I believe there were young people roaming around the streets of London robbing people those people have got money and we haven't, and the haves and the have-nots. 500 years from now I believe there will be young people robbing people because those people have got something that we haven't got. I don't know if they'll be doing it on hoverboards or whatever the technology will be at the time, but this is a timeless story. And so that, I think, is what we've achieved with Gassed Up, and I just hope audiences really appreciate the film that we've made, that we put our heart and soul in.
Do you know what you're going to be working on next, or are you still thinking about it?
I don't know what I'm going to be working on next because I can't see into the future, but I know what I'm working on now, and I hope that becomes what I'll be working on next.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time, and really enjoyed presenting the film here at London Film Festival. Thanks a lot.